All right, give it to me.
The following contains offensive language and spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. I'm just burning, doing the neutron dance.
The neutron dance. That's the one, right? Okay, making sure. All right, welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies. Nursing Bully, host Leroy, aka if I hear the word freak off one more time with my co-host.
This is Eli, aka Buffalo X-Wing fighter.
There you go. Nutritious. I get it.
Okay. That was a stretch. Wasn't sure about that one.
You made it work. Also, our third co-host, the Doombot, the AI.
All hail.
We'll be talking about them later on during the podcast also. But yeah, so back to another episode. And like I said, we had such good numbers and a good response and good watch time with the last episode. We talked about BBY 2. We're going to run it back. We're going to run it back. Yeah, do BBY 1. And I'm going to just let Eli just run wild. Just let him run free. Get it all off his chest.
Yeah.
Because right now,
I think we're zero BBY now.
Then we're going to go to zero BBY. Then we're going to go to -1 BBY, -1 BBY. Godzilla shows up and fights everybody.
Actually, it's AYB.
One of these days I'll learn the language, but yeah.
ABY. That's what it is.
I guess we'll do that. But before we get to the Star Wars shit, I do want to oh damn, I don't have a thing about it. That's okay. Eli, I just noticed that the New York Knicks are in the New York final. Also, your team is still in the finals. I mean, in the playoffs.
My team? Oh, yeah. the Timberwolves?
The Timberwolves, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ant-Man's still in there. Ant-Man's still hanging in there. So I'm just like, okay, cool.
I don't know what that means. I know, yes, I am in Minnesota. I know the Timberwolves are doing good, but I am so not a basketball fan. I suck at basketball.
That's okay. Because there is a possibility, Eli, that we might get an NBA Finals of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks. So if that happens, you are going to report on it every week or each game. And I'm just sit back
okie dokie. I'll keep that in mind.
People don't want to hear this nerd shit, the Star Wars shit. They want to hear us talk about sports. That's what they want.
Sports, yeah.
Yeah, because anytime we talk about that, our numbers go up. And when we talk
about balls.
Right, that's what we talk about. And then we talk about the stuff that's actually on the thumbnail, everybody leaves. So, okay. All right. Also, give a shout out to Jamal Roberts. He won American Idol tonight. He's from Mississippi. Went to Alcorn.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you know him? You can do a record with him?
Here's the thing. I can't because for two reasons. I've never heard of him before. Two, I didn't even know American Idol was still on. I know that's bad. I know you can just take away whatever cards I have, something like that. But I didn't know until my timeline started blowing up. Something like they're like, oh yes, somebody from Mississippi won. Like who? But apparently he's got like a lot of music. Obviously he's good if you want American Idol. Hell, you ain't even got to be you ain't even got to win American Idol. You could be like top 2 or 3 and still make $1 million doing whatever the hell. So
yeah.
Just I mean, hell, if you made it that far, obviously you good. Throw him a record deal, do something. So yeah, so we'll see what happens with Jamal Roberts. But shout out to him. Anytime somebody's from Mississippi, you know I gotta give a shout out. So yeah, all right. That being said, we get that out the way. We can just start on. We can start on where we came. You know what? No, before we get to Eli, we're gonna do something else.
Okay.
Not what you think we're gonna do. We're not gonna do that. I know what you were thinking. I know you know your cheeks were clenching. We're not doing that.
I thought we were talking about a trailer or something.
No, we're not. What I do want to talk about is that Disney Plus. Now we are gonna do this. What is the #1 Disney Plus product out right now? Like, what is the #1 thing on Disney Plus right now?
I don't know. Is it Mufasa or some shit?
It was, but something beat it.
Okay, is it Andor? I mean, I don't know. Is it Andor? Because I heard Andor has shitty numbers. So
actually, I think the last episode did pretty good. But here's the crazy thing about it: the #1 thing on Disney Plus right now is Rogue One.
Oh, okay, because of Andor.
Of Andor, yeah, that's the thing about it. Because that's what I'm saying. So it can be doing shitty numbers. I think Andor is #2, and then Rogue One is #1. Because like when you're done with Andor, it just leads right into Rogue One. Let me ask you this, Eli. When you finished Andor, the last episode, did you watch Rogue One?
I did. The next day, though, not like
they got you.
I did watch it the next
That's
day. Yes,
That's how they get you.
I did it.
I did too. That's what I was talking about before we actually talk about Andor. We're going to talk about Rogue One because people have been saying that Andor basically makes Rogue One more rewatchable. And I'll be honest with you, like when this movie first came out, remember this is one of the only Star Wars movies that I didn't watch in the theaters. Like I said, it was a tough time right there. But then when I finally got around to watching it, I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, I don't.
Yeah, I remember your hot take was you thought it sucked.
I did. I thought it sucked the first time. I tried to watch it and fade out. I was like, no. Now, after watching Andor, because Andor, I will say that it is a better movie watching it after Andor. I will give it that. When I just sat down and just watched it and see what's going on, stuff like that, I'll even take a little bit step further, Eli. I think it's the best. I don't even think it definitely is. It is the best Disney Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I will back that. I think I came out of that like just exhilarated. You know, whereas like the sequel trilogy, I had fun. There were fun popcorn movies.
You sure did.
Yeah, but this one like I found quite mind blowing. Just yeah.
I'll be honest with you, the movie still has flaws to me. I'm not going to walk away and say this
it does. It's not a perfect movie, by the way, by any means. I mean, I have a problem with stormtroopers getting punched in the face and getting knocked out when they have helmets on. Right. But that's just me. That's just a little nitpickies. But yeah, it has its flaws. It does have its flaws. And I do believe like we should have seen like Jyn Erso do some crimes, maybe the job that got her busted.
Just make her interesting. That's all. That's a thing. Yeah. He was so boring. Just like what's the point of it? So that's my thing about that. So, but after watching it, it is a better movie than what it did. I do think it's trying to juggle too much stuff. It's trying to be this spy drama, trying to be this war movie, trying to be a regular Star Wars movie, trying to throw a whole bunch of memory barriers at you. Got that weird ass PS2 Grand Moff Tarkin in there. I'm like, I don't know, man. But like I said, but the stuff that
works and Leia at the end,
Leia,
Final Fantasy Leia,
So they throwing all the stuff in there. So like I said, not a perfect movie, but it does. But the stuff
that the last 45 minutes is just balls to the wall. Star
you Wars. Can put Johnny in anything. He's going to be a charismatic character. He's just gonna So the last fight that might have been the best Star Wars fight. I mean, like space fight. Yeah, that might have been that best space fight.
That's why I love, and that to me, that calls back to as a kid because that's what Star Wars has always meant is the space battles. Yes, lightsabers and laser guns are cool, but I've always been into the X-wing fighters and the Millennium Falcon. Like that has always been my favorite thing about Star Wars is space battles. And Rogue One's shit is, like I said, the last half hour, 45 minutes is the literal war in the stars.
And
of course, Vader. Vader's
he's in the last part. So
being the baddest we've ever seen Vader ever.
The one of those you're dead and you're dead and you know it, like one of those moments you love it so yes, I go back and say, and matter of fact, watching Rogue One again, I was like, damn. And this was the first like a side movie that came out the gate, and we're like, okay, if you give us more stuff like this that it's original, like you got original characters, but it's kind of tied into it, but it's not too tied into it. You got something with this, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, it was a glorious time, especially being a Star Wars fan. Like, okay, we are gonna get because Disney is doing Star Wars now. We are gonna get a Star Wars movie every year for the rest of our lives, and that was such a, and it's always coming around Christmas, so it made Christmas time even that much more awesome. So I was like, stoked.
And the thing is, Rogue One at first, like the first half of it had a different tone than a regular Star Wars movie. So you feel like, okay, this is something that George Lucas can't give us. Now I do feel like the second half of the movie was just what you get from Star Wars, which I think why a lot of people like the first half of it. But I think they were trying to do something different. But whatever. But
and from what I understand, it originally had a darker tone, but they like livened it up for theatrical release
because you got to put this in a theater. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
So you can't just go all the way. You got to give people Star Wars. You got to give people what they recognize, especially you pumping that much money in the movie. You want your return. So you can't be experimental with your first movie.
And Tony Gilroy like co-wrote that script for Rogue One, and basically it was going to be more in tone with the Andor series.
Right. And with the Andor series, you can be more experimental. You can try stuff, So that's the thing about it. For you don't know who, and I didn't know who Tony Gilroy was either. I didn't know he was the guy that, wrote the Bourne movies. So, and then when you think, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but now we said that I'm going to step back, Eli. I'm going to just fall back and let you have it. Because now we're going to talk about it. If people on the thumbnail, we're going to talk about what's on the thumbnail. We're going to talk about Andor Season 2, BBY1. Okay. Now, like I said, Eli gave us a wealth of knowledge last week about what is BBY 3, 2, 1, all stuff like that. And like I said, we're going to talk about it. So people don't know that what BBY is. BBY is the Battle of Yavin in the first movie, because the first movie is BBY 0. Am I right?
Yeah, 0 BBY.
Okay.
Yeah,
BBY. Yeah, all that. So that's when they attacked the Death Star, blew up the Death Star. That's the thing. So they celebrate this the biggest win of the rebels at the point. So that's why everything in Star Wars pretty much revolve around that point. That is a fixed moment in time, a canon event, if you will. So
yeah.
That's all I got. I'm done. I'm
And Empire Strikes Back is 5 ABY, so after the Battle of Yavin. So that's the timeline. Yes, Yavin is the Battle of Yavin is like you said, like you said, the fixed moment of time that they sort of built this canon around. And
because we got to explain this stuff in Marvel terms.
Yeah. Is it the 616?
Right.
Is it the Ultimate Universe?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So yeah, the finale, the last 3 episodes of Andor, the final story arc in the Andor season or series, dropped this week, and yeah, I enjoyed it immensely. I'm not going to say more than the last arc. The last arc was very dark and kind of an emotional roller coaster. This was, I think, more fun as Andor can get. You know what I mean? This is, but this was basically Luthen's arc. Luthen and Clea, is that her name? Clea? His little
daughter or whatever.
Well, surrogate daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah, we get the flashbacks of where Luthen came from, and people were worried, me included, like, oh shit, I hope Luthen isn't a Jedi. That he's secretly a Jedi and he's gonna whip out a lightsaber. That would just totally kill the tone of this series. Everyone was wondering that. Like, oh, that would be cool if Luthen was a Jedi. And like, no, it kind of, but not for this show. So it was revealed that Luthen is not a Jedi. Luthen was an ex-Imperial soldier.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And he was carrying out a massacre on a planet and killed Clea's family, I believe. Is that how it was? And he finds Clea as a little child stowed away on his ship. And he decides to defect the Empire. So that's why he knows how to fight the Empire so well, because he used to be an Imperial soldier. He knows their weaknesses. So he leaves the Empire, takes Clea as a child, and they grow up. She grows up sort of becoming this rebel fighter, resisting the Empire, carrying out guerrilla warfare against Imperials and stuff. And basically started building what we know now is the Rebel Alliance. So that was revealed. And he gets caught. Daedra, the fucking shitty ass Imperial agent who ordered a massacre on Gorman, she finds him. Axis. They knew him as Axis. That scene in the antique shop when she comes in, and I thought that was a really cool scene. That was something out of Heat, where the two enemies finally meet, and they kind of, like when the Bond villain meets James Bond, and they play a card game or some shit.
Right.
it was kind of like that. Oh, hey, they talk a little
like they
shit.
know each other, but they pretend, dancing around it, but yeah.
Yeah, then they reveal, oh, I got you, motherfucker. And then, that whole scene I thought was just gold. I finally got you. It's like, yeah, you're too late. You're too late. The rebels, the rebel, we're not here anymore. It's gone. It's across the galaxy. What did he say? There's a whole galaxy waiting to discuss you. I thought that was a great line. And then he tries to kill himself. but then she saves him. And that, like I said, that whole story arc of Clea having to sneak into the hospital.
Right. Because they only say that because they want to wake him back up and torture him.
Yeah, to torture him, to find out where the secret rebel base is.
Where Yavin is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, where Yavin is. That's what they were doing. They
don't even know what Yavin is. They don't even know.
Yeah, the secret rebel base. That's what they were doing to Princess Leia in the original movie. Mm-hmm. Like, your secret rebel base, the mind probe and all that. So he tries to kill himself. They revive him, bring him to the hospital. Clea has to sneak into the hospital to kill her mentor, her surrogate father, which is so dark that the victory is someone's death, like her.
Right, because she couldn't get him out of it. She couldn't extract him.
No, and so she had to kill him, and that was, I thought, was very dark, but also like intense. And then because now it was revealed, he finally found out what the Empire was doing. They always had a feeling, what are they doing? They're up to something, but they could never figure out what. And then they find out his leak, that one guy, what's his name? Faust or whatever, I forget his name. Young, that's his name.
Okay. Yeah.
He reveals that they're building a weapon, that they're building the Death Star, So that's the key information. And Clea has to get that info to the rebels. So Andor has to then extract Clea from Coruscant, get her out of there, get her to Yavin to tell the rebels that the Empire's building a weapon, And then it's funny is when they do get her to Yavin, they don't believe her.
Right. Well, because they don't believe Luthen. They think you just like him. So yeah.
Yeah, they're like, Luthen went insane. He's blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't believe him. It's like, well, Luthen was staying on Coruscant to find out because he was trying to figure out what they were doing. And then Mon Mothma was like, that makes a lot of sense. This whole energy program or whatever the Empire was going to do. There was some.
Oh, and don't forget, Luthen killed Young after he gave him the information too.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like Mon Mothma was like, this makes sense. So this whole weapons program is actually or energy program that the Empire was doing is actually a front for them building this super weapon, But then they don't believe them. They don't really believe Clea, and Luthen died for this information. So it kind of reflected Congress, Like I said,
right.
This show sort of dips into current events and current real world issues, and watching the rebels, who are supposed to be progressive, and watch them go, well, nah, okay, we're not going to do anything about it because of this, and they're all bickering. So that reminded me of like real world politics. Like, yeah, you guys have the power to do something, but you're still not going to do anything about it, And it takes Andor illegally leave, or basically, going on a rogue mission to go find that guy that's in Rogue One, the guy he meets, to confirm it,
Right.
And if you notice, they still don't believe him. So he goes to that guy, finds out that they're building the Death Star, and then gets Jyn Erso and to go to Saw Gerrera because the dad left a message, and then all that shit brings them to they're building a weapon, and they still don't want them to do anything about it.
Right. They bring back Jyn Erso. She gets the information. They still like, no, we're not doing anything.
No, we're not doing nothing. So it took a bunch of like radicals to go, start some shit, to do it. But I did like that. Like, and then of course Deidre and Krennic, Krennic is just again, back to this idea that the Empire, they're not cool. They're a bunch of rat bastard finks,
And to be honest with you, like that might have been my favorite scene in the entire series.
Where Krennic comes and like interrogates Deidre.
Yeah, that might be my favorite, because there was just like the whole dialogue just got me. He was just going at it. He was like, "If you're not a rebel spy, you missed your calling." Just the shit he was saying to her.
Yeah, and just the and
the finger thing.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Somebody on Twitter pointed that out because they said that wasn't scripted. Like Ben Mendelsohn just did that just on the dot, and then I just remember that. Wait a minute, I think I've seen that before from The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane did that to him.
Oh,
you know what he mean? You think that gives you power over me?
Gives you power over me, yeah.
Right. So he did it back on them, kind of like, okay, that's pretty genius if that's what he was doing. So yeah.
Yeah. But it's also it's so funny. Like to me, I was like knowing that Krennic is basically Vader's bitch, you know,
Right.
and Tarkin's bitch.
Yeah, he's like Tarkin's bitch. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shit rolls downhill, you know what I mean? That the Imperials are just a bunch of sniveling rat bastards, you know. And of course, and then that one the commander of the ISB who ends up killing himself, like like you know, like Hitler, that piece of shit, you know, wouldn't face the music and just decides to, you know, take the bitch way out. That's what this guy did, you know. Like I said, the villains in this series are not cool. They're a bunch of fucking rats, you know.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool, but it just emphasizes the fact that the Empire is just a fascist war machine, and everybody involved are just cogs in this machine that have no value. They're just expendable tools. You know, Cyril, Deidre, Krennic, everybody, even fucking Tarkin, you know. You know, they're all just expendable, you know. So I thought that was really cool. At the end when Bail Organa says to Cassian, you know, may the force be with you.
Right.
I thought that was kind of poignant, but I also thought it was kind of sad because Cassian doesn't believe in the force. You know,
right, but Bail was there. He was there.
Yes,
with the Jedi Master, so
yes, Bail, Mon Mothma, a lot of the Senate. They've been around. They've witnessed. They've seen what the Jedi can do.
Yeah,
they've seen how the Force works, so they believe in it. So it's easy for them to fight the Empire.
Well, it's like the newer generation. Because I guess, I don't know if this make affirmative like Palpatine or Vader. Basically, when it went to Jedi, just like the Force don't exist. None of that exists.
Yeah, you know, like I said, Mon and Bail, it's easy for them to fight the Empire because they've witnessed what the Force can do. They witnessed what the Jedi can do. Whereas Cassian and a whole generation,
or even Han Solo, he was like, I don't believe in Hopi religion.
Yeah, a whole generation of the galaxy does not believe in the Force, does not know what the Jedi are, you know, or you know, and probably because Imperial propaganda called Jedi scapegoats and traitors and blah 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 blah. You know, so
I mean, that's pretty what he said in the Senate. He was like the Jedi are evil and taking over and shit. So yeah.
So a whole generation of the galaxy does not believe in the Force. So it's harder for them to fight the Empire. So when you think about it, like Cassian doesn't believe in the Force. So the reason he's fighting is he's got personal, you know, a personal stakes in it. You know, he's going by pure will. You know what I mean? So that makes it, I thought, kind of sad. I don't believe in a higher power, but I'm still going to fight the Empire anyways. And that's, I thought that, you know, that makes this generation, Cassian and all the soldiers just sort of, you know, well, we don't believe in the Force, but we're still going to fight them anyways because of, you know, they probably lost something personal, you know, out of it was the will that drives them, not their belief in a higher power, you know, spiritual power or whatever. You know, I thought that was kind of poignant and sad because that's, you know, that's kind of what the fantasy, when you watch Rogue One and then eventually A New Hope, you know, that's the fantasy. You know, these soldiers are sacrificing so much for the revolution, for the rebellion, you know, and that's what Andor is. Andor is showing the cost of what it takes to start a revolution. You know, all the people, the collective, all the work of everybody involved, you know, and that's the reality. Whereas Star Wars, you know, A New Hope, that's the fantasy. You know, Luke jumping in the spaceship and blowing up the Death Star, that's the fantasy. You know, lightsabers and spaceships, like, you know, and that's what we're conditioned to believe. You know, Batman and the Punisher, Daredevil, Wolverine, you know, our heroes that just punch
fight
the world
outside the law and
and just punch away the world's problems. That's the fantasy. Death Wish, you know, Rambo and Reacher and every Jason Statham movie, the tough guy with the gun who's gonna, you know, use his tough guyness to right all the wrongs in the world. That's the fantasy. Andor's the reality, that it takes a lot more to start a revolution and to, you know, to make that happen. You know,
just remember, just like we call some people freedom fighters, other people call them terrorists.
Yeah.
So they don't shy away from that on this show also. That the rebels do questionable shit.
Yeah. but it is the collective. It's the community that creates the revolution.
Right.
Like all those, like everybody in Andor and all the soul, and and again, watching Rogue One, you're seeing all the soldiers have a purpose. Everybody has a job to do to get Luke to that trench run. You know what I mean? What was it? Bodhi, the pilot. We gotta connect the satellite dish to get the plans up. Everybody's got, the soldiers are doing a diversion. So Jin and Cassian can get into the, to the files and stuff. And the droid.
And they all know it's a suicide mission. So.
But everybody has a job to do. Everybody puts their life on the line so Luke can get to the Death Star. It's all for one purpose. And that's why, so when you see Luke finally blow up the Death Star, finally he did it. And now none of those lives that were lost are in vain. So that's what makes it hopeful, I thought that was really cool. And then of course the ending with Bix, so I felt that made me happy. I thought I wasn't going to see her again, but that last shot of her and the baby out in the field, and because I thought, I hope she doesn't die, because she's been through the ringer, she's suffered enough. I'm glad that she survived. I think it's sad, that her and Cassian didn't live happily ever after, knowing that what happens to him, but still, her holding the baby on, looking at the sky, and the baby is
like people want them to be something, but the thing, if they happen to live a mundane life, an ordinary life, that's kind of the whole point. That's kind of what Cassian died for. So
and just the baby just represents a new life, a hope,
right?
A new hope, so to speak. But I thought that last montage was really cool. Of all the characters, Deidre ended up in prison.
Right.
All everybody just kind of like, Mon Mothma's husband.
Right. He got a side chick, didn't he?
It's the mother-in-law of the daughter. The daughter's mother-in-law, the one who married the other family.
Well,
and it's just like, there's the wealthy. That's the wealthy. That's the billionaires. The top 1% that is never affected by anything. They just live with their heads up their asses, not a care in the world, not giving a fuck. There's the galactic civil war going on. They're still partying, having their freak offs and eyes wide shut sex parties. Shit. Palpatine will get killed in Return of the Jedi, and they are still just the billionaires. They're just still partying. 30 years later, the First Order will come back, and they're still on the casino planet partying in Last Jedi. That's just the point. Like they don't ever are affected by fascism or anything. They're just above all that. His wife is a freak. He wasn't going to ever find. I heard that there was Tony Gilroy had wrote a scene where Mon Mothma, before she goes to Yavin, that she went back home to basically say goodbye to her husband and daughter and shit, but she felt it wasn't tonally fitting because they never supported her anyways, and they would have never joined the rebellion either. So
plus, if she came back to Coruscant to do that, they would have been looking for her. So
they would have probably been staking out her house.
Probably would have assassinated her on the spot. So
he probably would have sold her out too.
Right, couldn't contact him because they would have traced the call. So
and it's funny because I've been arguing in some Star Wars groups. It's funny how a lot of people, I've had to explain to so many people that the rebels are the good guys.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, it's all point of view. I see what you're saying, but like I said, they do questionable shit.
Well, yeah,
it's good, but how good are you when you have to do questionable shit to do those good things?
Yeah, well, war in war there is no murder.
Right.
You're fighting a war like Saw Gerrera. When they had to sacrifice that whole fleet in season 1.
Right.
And Luthen's like, it's another sacrifice we have to do, and call it what you will. And Saw goes, we'll just call it war. It's like that's what happens, you know. Again, like all the lives sacrificed, you know, to right the wrongs, you know. so yeah, but it's funny, like people were defending like the husband, like Mon Mothma's husband, you know.
Right.
I'm like, you know, there's this one, somebody was arguing with me, Mon cared more about politics than her family. I'm like, her family were like spoiled rich assholes. Her daughter was a spoiled rich brat. Her husband was a degenerate gambler. Like, like she was trying to do some good in the game. Good,
right?
For people, you know,
like she didn't want to just stick her head in the sand and just count her money all day long. She wanted to do something. So.
Yeah, you know,
and she had the power to do something, so that's why she did it. So,
yeah, you know, explaining that Cyril was a piece of shit. You know, the Dedra was a piece of shit.
like they rooting for the Empire.
Yeah, like don't be a tool for the Empire. Like, you know, the Empire are the bad guys. You know, you know. So, yeah, I thought it was great, and yeah, watching Rogue One right afterwards, and then I watched A New Hope after that.
Yeah, which is also BBY 0. So yeah.
Yeah. So no, I thought it was I thought it was really good. People are saying there's all these think pieces going around now. Oh, this is what Star Wars needs. We need to get rid of the lightsabers and all the lasers and blah 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 blah. No, we don't. I don't need all my Star Wars to be dark, depressing reality checks, you know. Right. But I think Andor has proven that there's room for that. There's room for mature storytelling. Yeah.
Or just room for just a tone shift of any Star Wars. Like you can have this, you can have Skeleton Crew, you can have all kind of stuff.
Yeah. And from what I understand, like I said, I Andor, it's critically acclaimed. It's got all these high ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes. It's breaking all these records. It's highly rated and people like it, but it's got low viewership. Like I think
but let's be honest, Eli, this is an acquired taste show.
Yes. So as much as people like it, there's not a lot of people that do like it.
Right. Which why I feel like Tony Gilroy, when he was writing Rogue One, this is what he wanted to do. But you can't do that when you got, you know, people want to stuff their face with popcorn. You can't just make this spy thriller out there and then just be that. You know, you gotta give them, you know, all the nostalgia and all the shit like that, because you slapping Star Wars on it.
Yeah, like Andor was doing like Acolyte numbers, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that got canceled because of low viewership. But Acolyte was more expensive. Like there was no lightsabers in Andor.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of space battles in Andor. Was there even a space battle? I don't even think so.
If you want to call the third episode.
Like, but
they spent money on that, so yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't like they were in the vault. What's that thing that virtual reality set that they have now at Disney? What's it called? The Vault or something?
The Vault. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where they do all the volume. Yeah, where they do all the digital backgrounds. Like they didn't use that for the show. They might have used some blue screen or green screen stuff, but this was all shot on sets, you know, and practical sets. So that's where the budget went to. So it was, and it's over now. So it was probably done. This is probably a cheap show, you know. So they were like, yeah, go ahead, do what you want. But
now here's my thing, Eli. Now we keep talking about this Star Wars. You're in the Star Wars, you know, bubble and thing like that. Would you recommend this show to somebody that don't watch Star Wars?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
Technically, you don't have to know Star Wars to watch this show. Yes, it will enhance it, but you can just watch this show. You can just watch these characters, because like I said, most of the characters are killed off in jail anyway by the time the actual movies start.
Yeah.
So you
maybe I got my blinders on. Like, I appreciate all the shadow. And there's not a lot. You're right. There's not a lot of like legacy characters, and you know, Yoda doesn't show up. I mean, it is
like they tried to work Princess Leia in this.
Yeah. I mean, it does like pay to know like the, you know, certain things like Yavin and certain time periods and stuff like that. But yeah, there's not a lot of required Star Wars knowledge to go into this, you know. But that I don't know. Whenever if someone's never seen Star Wars, I go start with A New Hope And if you still give a shit, watch the original trilogy. And if you still give a shit, watch the prequels, and then go from there. That's how people.
Right. I mean, you really only thing you can't recommend Andor with it because it's such a tonal shift from the movies. That's all.
That's what I said to Marvel about Marvel. I was like, start with Iron Man. If you like that, then move on. Like that's the one that starts it. If you because that's pretty much what you're getting into.
well, now you got to start with Spider-Man and X-Men because they all the multiverse.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck, all this shit. So
yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool. I had but I'm a Star Wars nerd. It was a slow burn. I mean, I think the first couple arcs were a little lacking, but these last 2 arcs I thought was a lot of fun. Well, not fun, but were really good.
Right,
it was really engaged
because, like I said, it flows right into Rogue One and Star Wars and everything like that. Like it adds to the mythology of everything.
Yeah, and it kept me engaged. It kept me emotionally invested.
Yeah,
which
and I'll be honest with you, like I know you said you liked it. I was not feeling the show at all. Not the first season, not even the first half, 6 season. But I tell you, this last 3 episodes, this BBY arc, I was locked in. I was in there. It kept my attention the whole time. And I'm thinking, is it just that these episodes are that much better, or am I getting the show now? Do I understand the show, what it's trying to do, or what is it? That's what I'm trying to figure out what it is.
I think these last 3 were more in tone of what we know of what Star Wars is. It was a rescue mission. Andor or Cassian had to come get Clea off of Coruscant. That whole when K2 grabbed that shitty ass Imperial officer. Oh, I couldn't stand him. And he grabbed him and he was using him as a shield and he was fucking up all the stormtroopers and shit. I thought that was dope.
It really was.
So this had the fun action sequences, whereas the last episode, as much as I really liked the last arc with the Gorman on Gorman and all that, and then Mon Mothma's speech, I thought that was really good, but that shit was kind of depressing,
right.
Whereas this one, I was this was the fun Star Wars, as much fun as you can have on a dark show like this,
Right.
so yeah, that I thought that was fun.
Cause like I said, Eli, when I'm thinking about this show, and I got to get my mind frame out of what I expect Star Wars to be, because I think that was throwing me off with this show. Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, since I was able to watch all 12 hours or 12 episodes, this is now okay, so this is what they're trying to say, because this should be my favorite show. It's a spy thriller with a Star Wars aesthetic on it, with dressing sprinkled over it. So it should be my favorite show. And I think by the time, the second half of this season, I understood it. I okay, I understand where you're going with the show. So I am going to rewatch this whole thing with fresh eyes now that I know what they're trying to do with it and see where we're going. Instead of expecting Star Wars shit to just show up, just appreciate the show for what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I like it more,
Yeah, and from what I understand, Tony Gilroy was using actual real world events.
I mean, you can see it. You can see it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, this show would work if you set it in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And that's it, and just leave it there. So yeah.
Gorman was based on Poland.
That's what I'm saying. It very much, they was occupying that place.
Yeah, and they were French. It was they were their language kind of sounded like French. Right. So the fall of Paris before the Nazis took over, So it's he's making all these real world references.
He wouldn't be subtle with it at all.
Yeah, but it's just told through a Star Wars filter,
Yeah.
so yeah, cool stuff. Like I said, it's mature. Yeah, it's not fun and fluffy what we're used to.
Right.
And that's what turns off a lot of people. So yeah, but. Anyways, I thought it was great, but yeah, I'm part of the small percentage that does like it, because like I said, it didn't get a lot of viewership. So
yeah, not people liking it. People outside of Star Wars not going to touch it, but I think they should. I think people outside of Star Wars should just watch it just as a show. I think, as a matter of fact, I feel bad that Disney didn't recommend it like that or promote it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they kind of did, because every other Star Wars show has Star Wars slapped in front of it. Star Wars this, Star Wars that. This don't. It's just Andor.
Yeah, they don't, because it's just the Star Wars brand. This doesn't fit the Star Wars brand.
Right. It didn't fit the Star Wars brand, so they just said Andor. That's all it is. So
Yeah.
So I think they should have done a better job of promoting this show, not as a Star Wars show, but as a show that has Star Wars in it. That they should have did that. So
yeah. Like I said, it's an acquired taste. It doesn't have that fun fuzziness that people are used to. But and that's the thing, is like I said, I was really emotionally invested in this show. I haven't felt like tense like that watching Star Wars, in a very long time. And that kind of sucks that we're most likely not going to get that again. I hope they do. I hope they do branch out and do other things, but
maybe they just need to do something like this, and then the next show will be more well received.
Yeah, because I think
if it's like this, so
yeah, because we're gonna have like the Darth Maul animated series that's coming up. We have the Mando and Baby Yoda movie coming out next year, and that's probably going to be fine.
We can always say that Andor walked so these shows could run or something like that.
Yeah, like that's going to be fine. It's going to be a fun popcorn flick.
I got a show for you, Eli. I got a show for you. I just thought about it. Okay, so they gave us Andor, right?
Yeah.
About the plans of the Death Star. What about the second Death Star?
The Boston, where they can finally show the Bothans.
Now we can talk about the Bothans. And I guarantee you, one of those Bothans was smashing Mom Martha. Look how sad she was. She said she was like
yeah, or a Clea show. I mean, what she does after like the events, like, what happens. I mean, there's like, that's the thing, the Star Wars universe is so expansive. There's room for different stories. And I hope that Andor has proven that you can tell these stories. You can tell darker, more serious, mature stories, which I think there is an appetite for. Yes, we can have the lightsabers and space battles because that's just what Star Wars is. But then you can have a show where it's not focused on that. More drama, character-driven stories, And like I said, that's why I was so emotionally involved with this series. And then Mando, the Baby Yoda Mando movie, I don't really give a shit. It's just
they want to, they want to sell toys and shit. So.
Yeah, that's all it's for. It's going to be fine, and it's fine. I'll watch it and eat some popcorn, and then not really give a shit. Baby Yoda, he's just there, only exists to make Palpatine coming back in Rise of Skywalker matter. Like, I don't care about any of that shit.
Right.
It's just filling in the blanks of a storyline I don't care about. So, like I said, I'm not emotionally involved in that story. If Mando was doing some gritty crime, space Western shit, yeah, cool. But no, he's got to get Baby Yoda to wherever because, the rise was the First Order's come back, and I don't care.
And see, that's the thing about television. You can do experimental storytelling like Andor. In the movies, you can't. You're putting too much money into this stuff to do stuff like that. So
yeah, Mando will have all the cool action. You'll have all the space battles. You'll have Baby Yoda probably doing some wild shit, and
it'll be focus tested. It'll be
that's gonna be so cool and all that shit. But but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Like you've seen where somebody took they redid the lightsaber duel of Vader and Obi-Wan at the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
When Obi-Wan finally dies, when Vader finally kills him.
Right.
Where it's all kung fu choreography and it looks dope,
Yeah, but it don't need to be that for that movie. That's the thing.
And it looks cool, but it's missing the emotional depth that what that means, what it symbolizes.
Right, the last fight between this mentor and this this pupil. No, we don't need the John Wick kung fu shit right there. Ninja flips and shit. So
it looks cool, but there's no emotional stakes involved.
Right. It's just cool like, for TikTok. That's it.
Just like what I talked about the Obi-Wan show. Yeah, Obi-Wan. I didn't give it. The only thing I cared about Obi-Wan was what's her name, Rhea, the Inquisitor chick, who was after Anakin, who wanted to kill Vader. Like that was the only thing I cared about in that series. I didn't give a shit about Baby Leia or Obi-Wan uncovering clones and again cloning crap. I didn't care about any of that, or Anakin coming, or Vader and Obi-Wan having duel after duel. Yeah, it looked cool, but I didn't care because there was no stakes involved.
Because we know how it ends. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't not give a shit. But when she said to Obi-Wan, you trained him, he was your Padawan, it's all your fault. I was like, oh shit.
Now the thing about the Obi-Wan show, that needed to be a movie because that show felt like it was padded out to be a show.
Yeah.
So, and it was supposed to be a movie at first, but then I'm not gonna blame anybody. How they did. They just dump everything on Disney Plus. So
yeah. So 2 thumbs up or 5 out of 5. I don't care. Whatever. Cool shit. I love the show.
So,
and now I'll just be sad for a while, knowing we're not going to get anything that is that intense in Star Wars.
Right, because they always chasing the money. That's the thing. So
yeah. And this didn't make enough money to hey, we're going to do dark, depressing Star Wars from now on. Yeah, but I don't need dark, depressing Star Wars. I just
let me ask you: do you think
this
show would have done better if it didn't have Star Wars on it? If it was just a Nazi Germany show, or if it just wasn't Star Wars, just a sci-fi show, just did it? Do you think it would have maybe taken off more?
Maybe. Who knows?
Do you think the Star Wars brand is holding it back?
Maybe. That's a good question.
Yeah,
because like I say, there's those expectations. People expect Star Wars to be a certain thing.
Right. But if it was just a thing that just came out, we had we just watch it and just see what would happen. So
yeah,
at the same time, that put eyes on the show.
Yeah. Like the whole Bix being assaulted by that creepy, perv, how that divided the audience. People weren't prepared for that because we weren't used to seeing that in Star Wars.
Right. But if it was in Rebel Moon.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. It was something else. And and I saw a post about that. People, those certain political.
We know who they are. Yeah,
yeah.
The grifters,
the grifters. The anti-woke crowd that bitch about everything. The what about is that they always like to. Well, what about? Yeah. So how come everybody got freaked out over Bix getting assaulted, but no one gave a shit when Cyril attacked Deidre and shit? Because Deidre's a piece of shit.
Right.
And so is Cyril. We don't care about them because they're assholes.
Right.
like it's funny. You have to explain basic, morals to these dumbasses.
Well, they reach for shit a lot of times. Just what's the most clickbaity shit we can say? So
let's the Empire are the bad guys.
Right.
So if you're rooting for them, it's Homelander, he's the bad guy.
They didn't realize that to season 4. Those same grifters we talking about, they didn't realize that to season 4. So
yeah,
but they're making fun of us. What?
Yeah. So funny, funny shit. So yeah. Like I said, I haven't been disengaged. I haven't talked shit. I haven't been online engaging with fans. Discussing. On Star Wars in a while, because it's how it is out there.
Well, you're the only person I know to watch this show, Eli. So, so I got to wait once a week to even talk to you about it.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Disney. Hopefully, Disney does something like this again, but who knows?
Who knows? Many Bothans died. We're giving you a show right now, man.
Yeah, there you go. The second Death Star, and then Palpatine.
Yeah, so many people kept asking what about this in this show. They are not supposed to be in this show.
They were asking about that with Rogue One.
You motherfuckers, stop doing this shit.
That's 5, no, 8 ABY.
Right.
Yeah, I think. Right. Yeah, I think Return of the Jedi is 3 years after Empire or something like that.
Something like that. So yeah.
So Han Solo was frozen for years.
Damn. Okay. So he just left his ass in there. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next part of the podcast. Like I said, we watched the trailer. Well, a bunch of trailers. Here's the thing. Honestly, I wouldn't have even watched these trailers because I don't like to spoil myself on trailers anymore. But I forgot, I might want to talk about it on the podcast. So let me just watch this to see what the fuck going on. So we watched the Superman trailer. Well, I watched Superman trailer. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I said, I don't need to be sold on this shit. You don't ask me what I think about the trailers like that. I don't have to be sold. Just give me the movie. I'm trying to go on media blackout for this shit anyway. So probably if they do some more trailers stuff like that, I probably won't watch them. I should watch them
Yeah.
because it's got 7 million views like that. Because these trailers, they get to the point they're spoiling shit now.
Yeah, well, that conversation between Lois and Clark about when she's interviewing him and asking him those pressing questions, and he's getting all pissed off. I thought that was an interesting scene, but also I didn't need to see that in the trailer.
Right. Let me watch it in the movie. Let me see where it's going. But they got to give us a little bit of stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I am a little worried that there's too much going on.
Does feel like that? Yeah.
So with the Green Lanterns and Hawkgirl and Metallo
and the multiple villains they're fighting. They're fighting the engineer from the Authority. Then we still got that big dude. You don't know who he is yet. So
the big kaiju monster. There's so much going on. I hope it's more Superman focused.
Right.
I hope they're not doing what Marvel's doing, where we got to set shit up, and so you watch the next thing.
From Marvel to make this movie.
Yeah,
so that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, can we just have something focused on a character?
Yeah, Superman. Can we have a Superman movie?
Yeah, let's not make it, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right.
Throw Iron Man and everybody else. That's all I'm concerned with. I hope I want to see a Superman movie.
Oh, then not only is he fighting a kaiju, he's fighting like Juggernaut or some shit.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of villains. Like, who the fuck is this now?
Who the fuck? I don't even know who the fuck that guy is. It's like he's fighting Juggernaut and this shit that can shoot Cyclops beams. Like, okay. Jacob's making up shit at this point. He's like, fuck it,
Yeah. Oh, and then Lex Luthor too. Like,
and Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor's in the movie.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor.
It's like, well, he's a bitch now because he ain't shit to get his kaiju.
Right.
Lex Luthor ain't the final boss anymore. So
right. He gonna stand after he didn't threw a kaiju in the sun. Like that was Luke supposed to do. So, but that's not what I want to talk about. That's the trailer I want to talk about. The trailer I want to talk about was Ironheart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Reason I want to talk about Ironheart because people now Eli on Black Twitter, they've actually been acting a fool for like the last month, so like that. Where's the trailer, Marvel? Where's the trailer? Boycott Marvel, boycott until Ironheart comes out like that. Like, why y'all all of a sudden excited about Ironheart? Now, this is the thing. So they really wanted the Ironheart trailer, so we finally got the Ironheart trailer. So everybody shut the fuck up, got the Ironheart trailer. So I want to applaud Marvel and say fuck Marvel at the same time for what they did.
Okay.
Because yes, they dropped the trailer. But here's the thing, Eli. I think they purposely dropped that trailer on the same day as Superman, so Superman can swallow up all the media frenzy on it. That way, people be so busy talking about Superman, they don't have time to talk about Ironheart. Because I really think Marvel is trying to bury this show. They don't want people to know about this show. Now, I don't know if you're talking about the quality of it, or maybe they just know those same people talking about they're going to come out and attack the show, which they did. It was like clockwork. As soon as it came out, they were putting videos up already before. And because it was like 2 hours before that dropped, the Superman trailer dropped, they already had that I hate Riri videos out.
Woke anti
this, all this. They already. It's like they pre-recorded it. Like
not my Iron Man.
Yeah, like they wasted no time. Like, did y'all record this shit before the trailer came out?
Oh yeah, they were waiting. Yeah, they had it scheduled.
Uploaded it. So like we already know how we feel about it. Just do it. So shit. So that's my thing about that. Oh, what we do know, Eli, is that they are going to drop 3 episodes at the same time on premiere. So they're not doing an Echo thing.
So
we all thought
almost, because isn't it only like 6 episodes?
Probably, yeah. It probably is gonna be like, so not quite an Echo thing, but it's the closest thing you can get to Echo, because the whole thing feels very Echo-ish. Like Marvel, like just dump this and just move on to something else.
I thought, Sinners is making money. Let's throw Ryan Coogler's name up there front and center.
Doing that shit hard, man. That right from the mind of Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, like, wait, I made this. When?
He just like produced it, right?
He just produced it. He just stuck his name on it.
He's not the showrunner or anything.
He's not the showrunner or anything. He just because she. And the funny thing is, like, people don't even know where she came from. Like, who is this again? Like, I keep telling people, she was in the last Black Panther movie. She was? Where? Like, did y'all watch the movie? Like, shit. Oh, man. But, yeah, that's all I got to say, man. So, yeah, they got a new Black superhero movie coming out that everybody hates stuff like that. So, but here's the thing, Eli, we know the grifters always shit on things like that. That's what they do. Maybe Ironheart will find its audience.
I watched the trailer, and can we talk about the trailer? because I thought it looks
Okay.
pretty good.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I had to throw you on that side over there, stuff like that.
No, I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Like,
Now here's
and
my thing, and I should have showed this also because we already revealed who the main bad guy of the show is, or they revealed the main bad guy is the Hood.
Yeah.
So why did I go on Instagram and I saw a promotion of the Hood comes to MCU, Ironheart? I'm like, that's not how you advertise this shit, man. You got a black superhero talking about she's in the hood, whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the way they framed it. It just didn't look right when they did it. So yeah, I started to throw something on there, but yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
The Hood comes to the MCU.
Yeah, the Hood comes to the MCU.
Oh shit!
I see what you're doing, Marvel. Okay, but if the TV show is fine, but I don't know if that's going to make us fine as audience. Because the thing is, here's the thing: we talk about Acolyte, but we don't talk about Agatha All Along. Agatha All Along actually did decent numbers for Marvel. The reason because it found its audience. They made that show for wine moms. That's who watched that show.
And goths and the goth crowd,
right?
That like Wednesday,
Yeah, made it for that. So even though the known people that watch Marvel stuff don't watch this show, they were still able to find people to watch the show and still made its numbers, and it's fine. So will Ironheart find its audience? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Because we've been asking about it. Yeah, like I said, you got a black superhero popping up like that. We'll see how it goes. Funny thing is, it's been, like I said, it's been ratioed to hell on YouTube. One of the most downvoted things, and there's only 2 projects that's been downvoted more than Ironheart. One is The Marvels and She-Hulk. What do they all have in common? We're not gonna go there. I'm gonna just leave it up to your imagination. But
yeah. It's funny that the Thunderbolts is doing so well when you had somebody replace a Black Widow.
Yeah, people love that.
And a Captain America.
It's weird how we pick and choose stuff like that. Okay, like people hate Riri.
Right? It ain't weird at all. I know why.
We know why. But the thing is, like I said, the same writer that made Riri made Miles Morales. So why do we love one, don't love the other?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I know why.
We know why. We know why. We
know why.
We know why. All right.
Yeah.
Can we move on to the next part of the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, we're here at the Vidja game section. We're gonna talk about the Vidja game section because a thing happened. Because Eli, you told me that Darth Jar Jar wasn't real and Darth Jar Jar couldn't hurt me. Now all of a sudden, Darth Jar Jar is real and Darth Jar Jar is coming.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what the hell's going on with Darth Jar Jar, it is a fan theory in Star Wars where that bumbling goofball Jar Jar Binks that didn't do much of shit at anything in any of these movies was secretly like a Sith Lord mastermind, evil mastermind behind the whole thing, pulling string behind everybody. And that was supposed to have been revealed later on down the road, but they didn't do that. So people still cling on to that to think that's a thing and that Jar Jar was really like an evil Sith Lord. Now, George Lucas in an interview said the reason he created Jar Jar Binks in the beginning because he was trying to make another C-3PO. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, sell toys. He was supposed to be like
sell toys. That's what he's trying to do. That's all it was. So
he was supposed to be the fluffy kid character that kids would love.
Right.
It just sort of backfired.
But people are trying to say he was trying to compare him like to Yoda, because when you watch the Empire Strikes Back, Yoda was like this bumbling idiot at first too, that flipped to be this all-wise Jedi master.
Oh, yeah.
So they say they're trying to do the same thing with Jar Jar because poetry, it all rhymes and all this shit like that. So he was trying to make this bumbling goofball that was really this evil Sith Lord at the end, So, but don't forget the fact that the whole reason the Empire was created was because Jar Jar Binks gave power to Palpatine.
Yep.
Not because he was a dumbass. That's all. But it's still, it makes you think.
Yeah. He gave Palpatine executive powers.
Right.
He was the tie-breaking vote.
Right. So just makes you think. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it came from. That he that he pretended to be verbal Kint or whatever.
He was pretending to be a dumbass, but really, Palpatine, we in cahoots, man.
This is a Kaiser Soze thing, usual,
right?
Which does sound kind of awesome.
But the thing is, they saying that that's kind of what George Lucas might have been planning, but since Jar Jar had such a bad reaction, like, let me just throw him to the side.
Yeah, no, Jar Jar's done, and he's barely in. Like by the time you get to Revenge of the Sith, he's in like one scene and doesn't say anything.
He didn't even say. He just walked past like, damn.
But so he's on this game. You can play Darth Jar Jar on what is it? Fortnite? Is that Fortnite?
Okay, so that's what I meant to tell you. Like I said, I don't play Fortnite like that, but I think Fortnite made like a Star Wars like map, something like that, or maps in general. And they just so if you would want to play just Star Wars on Fortnite, you can do that. Like it's got its own thing on it like that, and they're just adding to it. So they're cool, I guess. So yeah. So, all right.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar. All right. So let me say move on to the next part. And you know what? Jar Jar's still alive.
He was, I guess, in one of the books. He's like a poor street beggar. Like someone found him.
Is that book canon?
I think so. It was one of the newer canon. Like when Disney. It's from the Disney after Disney bought it. So
okay, I was just saying because
I haven't read it.
I
haven't read it. Yeah,
I'm just saying Jar Jar can still happen.
Yeah,
after it's all done, he just shows up like it was me all along.
You know? The Knights of Ren or whatever.
Yeah, it's him the whole time.
He was training Kylo Ren the whole time.
Why are we writing better Star Wars than Star Wars? But anyway, all right. That being said, we move on to the next part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, it's comic book bullies. We're talking about comic books. We're gonna jump into it. Eli, I'm gonna let you go first and see what we got with that there.
What did I read? So I start out with Absolute Batman.
Absolutely.
Number 8.
Absolute Batman, absolutely.
Yeah, Absolute Batman. Let me pull it up. So this is the Absolute Universe where Darkseided the DC universe recreated a whole new universe where we have different versions of all our favorite characters. Batman is no longer rich. He grew up, in the hood. Only his dad died. Martha's still alive, and he's like a big, giant, hulking MMA fighter who has like a barbarian Batman suit.
Got a battle axe and
yeah. So different version of Batman.
And he's not rich, so yeah.
He's not rich, So this picks up where he has broken into Arc M, that science laboratory that's been doing secret shit no one knows. He broke in. It was revealed that Mr. Freeze, or the son of Mr. Freeze, has been doing experiments on people.
Mr. Freeze Jr. Okay.
Yeah. And this Mr. Freeze has some weird disease that was brought him back to life when his parents went to Antarctica or whatever. There was some virus that was frozen in the ice, kind of like the Thing, came back to life, infected Freeze, and turned him into this skinny Hellraiser Cenobite type of villain, So he captures, and he's strong. He's super strong. He captures Batman, throws him in sort of a cryonic chamber, and that's what he's doing. He's frozen all the ultra rich elite of Gotham. They're like, hey, I want to live forever. So why don't you freeze me and, because they're all, and make me young again and unfreeze me centuries later so I can live forever, blah, blah, blah. That's what he's doing. So he's got a bunch of like frozen people in pods and shit. And he puts Batman in a pod. And I noticed he left. This is a big plot hole. This is where Freeze is kind of dumb. He left Batman's gauntlet on, like stripped him off,
right?
Everything, put him down to his drawers, but left his gauntlet on.
So he knew Batman is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So and starts freezing Bruce. And while Bruce is in there, he starts having flashbacks, and of course, it explains the whole Matches Malone thing, because Matches Malone is actually a guy in this universe.
Okay, it's just a real guy.
Yeah, it's not Bruce's alter ego or whatever. He's disguise. So Matches Malone was actually Bruce's friend who was in the mass shootout massacre at the zoo, where Bruce's dad was killed. So Bruce's dad was killed like in a mass shooting at a zoo, And it turns out that this is kind of sad, I thought. That Bruce went out to go save, like they were hiding when the shooting was going on, and then Matches was still out there, and Bruce's dad left the hiding spot to go get Matches and then got shot doing it. So Matches kind of grew up feeling guilty about that, had like survival's guilt. So he became like kind of reckless and would always be the first one whenever they would dare. He'd be the first one to do this shit, to like go on dares and do, dangerous stuff. And, so, and then he got killed. He got killed, sneaking into Ark M, I mean. So that's what he's thinking about while he's being frozen, But then, of course, snaps out of it and, I still wearing my gauntlet. Why don't I put all my bat gadgets that somehow all fit in this gauntlet, So it's like his Iron Man suit, and it all comes out.
Right, just one little thing.
Yeah, and it just appears all over his body, and he breaks out of the pod and starts, fighting, Mr. Freeze. Only he's weakened because he's frozen. He's got hypothermia, so he's fighting Mr. Freeze, who's really strong, and and then Mr. Freeze ends up opening the rest of those cryogenic chambers, and all these like frozen zombie people start attacking Batman, and Batman's got to like fight his way through the frozen ice zombie horde, and he's like punching off jaws and shit. Can I show you that? Can you see it? Let me see. I'll get on the camera real quick. Let's see.
Hold on. Let me throw you up here.
Where is it?
Bam.
Check out this panel. Can you see that panel?
I can. Okay.
Yeah, he's punching a jaw off. A zombie jaw.
Oh, damn. I see that. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah. He fights through these zombies, and basically he's getting overwhelmed. So this is like one of the few times we see Batman get his ass kicked. So
this Batman, but yeah.
Yeah, and he jumps out. He jumps out of the window and like escapes. Like I gotta regroup. I'm frozen. I got hypothermia. I can't fight all these zombies, and Mr. Freeze is beating my ass. So he basically takes off, escapes. And then the last page we see Waylon Jones. He's not Killer Croc yet. He is an MMA fighter who was training Bruce. He has his own MMA gym. Anyways, He's coming home. He's like, it's at nighttime. He's coming home. And then all of a sudden some dudes in suit, they go, Waylon Jennings? He says, yes. He says, you're going to be a perfect specimen for us. And then they like chloroform his ass and, knock him out, like take him to Ark M. And that's where it says to be continued. But here's the thing. It says next up, Bane.
Yeah, I keep seeing that Bane's supposed to be coming up.
But is Waylon going to become Bane and not Killer Croc? That's what I'm wondering.
Wait, but I think they already showed what Bane looks like.
Did they?
Yeah, like Bane's a white guy. I mean, not in the book, like in like trades and advertisements like that. Like Bane's a white, but like super bigger than this Batman.
Okay, well, okay. Yeah. I was wondering about that. I thought, they're gonna turn Waylon into Bane instead of,
Plus, hopefully they don't switch because they be like race swap. Remember, Bane's supposed to be like Latino and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris knows to give a shit about that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this was cool. This Batman, it's getting better. Like I thought this started out slow. I'm like, okay, this is just another version of Batman. We've seen this, an Elseworlds version in this Batman universe. It's Jar or his dad or the Joker's his mom. We've seen this shit before. So I wasn't feeling it at first. I was just going along for the ride. It's fun, but now it's starting to get good. I really I like that it's that Mr. Freeze is like Pinhead, like a Hellraiser's Cenobite, and he's not even in charge of Arkham. We don't even know. I'm sure Joker's probably in charge of him. He's just in charge of like the experiments.
Yeah, or Hugo Strange or some shit like that.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of that shit yet. So I think I thought that was cool. So yeah, I'll give this a 4 out of 5.
Nice. And I think that's all by design also. Like Scott Snyder wanted you to think, okay, you think you know this, but you don't know this. And the deeper he goes into it, the more experimental he can get, more batshit
Yeah.
crazy he can get with this stuff. So pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then we said, okay, next book I got. Well, first book I got, and I think you can help me out with this, Eli. We're gonna do One World Under a Doom.
All right.
You did read this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the funk
of it. All right. So if people haven't keeping on right now, like I said, Doom has taken over the world. The world is under Doom. One nation under Doom, led Verdia. But since he's been so busy taking over the world, he haven't been paying attention because he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He haven't been paying attention that he has other duties as Sorcerer Supreme, like keep out other demons from entering the universe, like the Dread Dormammu. So as he wasn't paying attention, the Dread Dormammu snuck on in. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the book. So let's see what we got. So the book starts off with and it's serious because they're only showing 2 people featuring this book. Dr. Doom and the Dread Dormammu. That is it. Ain't nobody else in this bitch. So yeah. All right. So Doom is narrating this book. He's basically saying that everybody's gone. The Avengers gone, Fantastic Four gone, the X-Men gone, the Defenders are gone, Alpha Flight is gone, the Power Pack is gone.
Everybody's gone.
Everybody's gone. They out of here. Even his dinosaur's gone. Dude's like, okay, you can get rid of it and Avengers and shit like that, but you don't steal a man's dinosaur. That's just going too far. So yeah. So basically, but everybody's gone. But the reason Doom is still here because he is the Sorcerer Supreme. So he uses just enough magic to stop him from disappearing where everybody else is gone. And that's when Dormammu shows up. He just like, oh shit, Doom, you left this world unattended. Unguarded. He was like, well, I'm still here, so obviously not unguarded. So they talking shit to each other, blasting each other, and Dormammu's just like, well, look, I guess you know a little bit, so I guess you this won't be too easy, but still smacking around shit like that. So what are you gonna do, Doom? Are you gonna try to convince me to join your team? Are you gonna beg for mercy? What you gonna do, Doom? He was like, first off, I'm not Doom. I'm a Doombot. And then second, the real Doom Dormammu doesn't beg, or what does he say? The real Doom doesn't what the shit, Dr. Seuss? I forgot. What, you know what he said?
I don't have it pulled up. So
but no, I'm saying the shit he said from the movie. I don't bargain or some shit.
Oh, you're talking about Dormammu. I thought you meant
Dormammu,
Doom.
yeah, Dormammu. I did not come here to bargain,
Yeah.
Or some shit he says, or smacks him with a hammer, and basically he can beat the shit out of Dormammu because he has an Eye of Agamotto. He's like, since I got the Eye of Agamotto, it can hurt you. And nothing you can do about it. So he blasts him and shit like that. And plus, I'm not going to hold back on you like Doctor Strange do. I'm going to use the Eye of Agamotto to its full potential and really hurt you. He was like, oh, shit, Doom. You still don't know what the fuck's going on. So while he's paying attention, rise my demons. So all of his demons from the dark dimension, they pop up and they start attacking Doom. And there's too many of them that Doom can't hold them back. And they start overwhelming shit like that. He's like, okay, maybe I bit off more than I can chew. He was like, no, I'm not. If Dr. Doom can beat this guy, I can beat this guy. Plus, I'm smarter than Doctor Strange. So let me use the Eye of Agamotto to its full potential. And then that's when he goes flame on. So now he's got Human Torch's power with Agamotto, blasting demons like that. Then he start off the blast. Start using Cyclops shit with the Eye of Agamotto, blasting them. So now he's taking them all out. And now he walks towards the Dread Dormammu. Wakanda forever, bam, snicked. He got Wolverine claws with Agamotto, and bam, stabs Dormammu.
Magic Wolverine
claws and shit like that. But it was all part of Dormammu's plan. He wanted him to get close so his demons can snatch and steal the Eye of Agamotto from him. Damn. So now he ain't got it. So now you just got to fight him one hand. And now Dormammu's kicking the shit out of him. He was like, Doom, we both know that you could have ended this fight anytime you wanted to. Like, you could have reversed my spell and brought the Avengers back, but you don't want to do that because it's going to take so much power that by the time they come back, you will have exhausted all your magic and you won't be Sorcerer Supreme anymore. So that's your kryptonite, Doom. Your ego is your kryptonite. So he's just still kicking the shit out of him. And he's just like, look, Doom, bam, because I am a god from the realm of the 14 and just the man. So he's like, I'm gonna show you the real difference between us, Doom. And that's when he starts, bam, give me an arm, breaks his arm, bam, give me a leg, breaks his leg, and rips off his armor and dumps him into the river. And you're like, my children, feed, and sends all his demons in the water to go get him. So Doom has basically one working leg, one working arm, and he's just fighting off all these demons as much as he can. And he does enough, and he basically levitates himself to him. He was like, Dormammu, I'm still here. He was like, Doom, what are you doing, man? And so then he breaks Doom's other arm and breaks Doom's other leg. like, like you're not gonna do. You look, Doom, you're gonna stop doing this shit right now. And then that's when he gets ready to punch Doom because he's like, I'm tired of fucking you, Doom. I'm about to kill you. And that's when Doom does another spell. He ain't got too much mag left. He got spell for like 2 more spells. So he traps him like a time loop for like a minute. I got a minute to think about what I'm gonna do with him until I can do it. But I got no moving limbs because I'm a quadriplegic right now because he broke all my shit. So he basically musters up all the strength he has to raise his arms up to, I guess, put a spell on Dormammu to like time trap him for a minute, I guess. It was like just enough to time trap for a minute. So he knocks himself away. And basically, Dormammu's like, this shit's not going to hold me, Doom. So you still got to figure out something before I come for you because I know you're pretty much tapped out. He was like, and then Doom has enough power for 1 more spell, and he does that thing that Dormammu told him not to do. He brings back the Avengers. But he knows that the Avengers come back, that the Avengers are going to be on his side because he's the lesser of 2 evils. So they're back, and then that's when Doom, while he's walking with a crutch, says, Avengers, assemble. And his dinosaur's back. Yeah. To be continued. So, yeah, that's what happened like that. So, Doom might not be the Sorcerer Supreme no more. He might be done with that shit. They might just be regular ass Doom now. I mean, fucked up Doom, but still Doom. So, yeah. Overall, cool. Pretty cool. Dormammu fight went exactly how you expected it to go. So, 4 to 5. I want to see what happens next book. So, yeah. Because I still don't know where this thing is going. The storyline is going. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's shit. I think we still got like 9 more issues or 8 more issues, some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, this shit's long as fuck, man. I think it's shit like a 9 issues, well, maybe like 6 issues. It's a long ass issue storyline. I know that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna be here.
I thought we were almost over.
No, we're almost halfway through.
Okay. I was like, the Avengers are gonna show up and kick ass.
Right. You think that's the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was like, I thought we were going to be done by the summer. And then
no, this is like wintertime or fall.
This is like 1,000 tie-ins for this shit.
Yeah, the Thunderbolts are doing some bullshit, all kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reading the main book. Okay. Well, hopefully they can keep it interesting, because I was, the magic battle. I'm not a Harry Potter guy, so I got a little exhausted.
And some of
with
the
all
rules
the
don't really make sense. It was just like, okay, if you got the Avagamato to hurt Dormammu, why don't you just do that shit on his like minions, his demons and shit like that? Why you can't just use that? So
yeah, I don't know.
It's like the rules change just whenever they feel like it. So.
And just explaining what every spell does has got a little exhausting reading it and shit.
Yeah, because that's the thing about these magic fights. Like the rules just change whenever they feel like it.
Yeah. So, but I thought it was I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. I do think it's cool that Doom got his ass got a little humbled. Like got his
right. Monologuing to himself like, maybe I fucked up.
Yeah, sitting there with broken arms and legs and shit. Still referring to himself in the third person and shit.
Doom got his ass kicked.
Yeah, Doom's hungry. Doom thinks you're stupid. All right. Well, we'll slap a score. What's your score?
I did. 4 to 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess my next book I'll do is Godzilla versus X-Men.
Yeah. For somebody that hates X-Men, you do way more X-Men books on this podcast than I do.
I'm only doing this because of Godzilla, and
I'm just saying. I'm noticing a pattern, Eli.
And the X-Men made this book a little sloggy.
I'm just saying, it feels like you're using this as an excuse to read some X-Men. That's what it seemed like.
Like all these Godzilla Marvel books have been fun, but this one, oh man. So I take it you didn't read this?
No, I did.
Okay, because
I'm not as big as an X-Men fan as you are.
You might have appreciated all the X-Men shit that was going on because there was a lot. Like holy shit, there's like all these psychic fucking battles and psychic conversations and reading of minds and
no love triangles. They needed to have
So
I
there's
love you, Scott.
Yeah. So basically, it starts out in Japan. Godzilla has returned. So this is kind of like a sequel to the original movie back in 55 or whatever, 54. Godzilla hasn't been lying dormant, but now he's returned. And Sunfire's there.
Of course, he should be. Yeah.
Yeah, so Sunfire's there, fights Godzilla, gets his ass whooped. Like, damn, this motherfucker's too powerful.
Because
So
technically, Godzilla and Sunfire kind of get the powers from the same source.
yeah, but Godzilla whoops his ass. Then Xavier and they're talking with like this Japanese like robotics company, like, hey man, we need to help you fight Godzilla. He's like, okay, yeah, because we need help fighting Godzilla. I don't know if we're not ready. Our shit's not ready yet. So then we cut to the danger room. The X-Men are fighting, like they're training to fight a kaiju in the training room, and then they develop this what's it called? The Adapto droid or something. It's kind of like a robot. It's kind of like a Sentinel, Sentinel robot, but with a bunch of like different X-Men powers and shit. And they're gonna use that to fight Godzilla.
Okay.
So they go to Japan, and Godzilla comes, and they start fighting and shit. And then they had PIM particles. So they dropped the fucking robot down, and it's a little normal size robot, because they're in the jet, So they launched the little robot out of the jet, in front of Godzilla. But then the PIM particles, boom, kaiju size robot now. So the X-Men robot, starts fighting Godzilla.
Okay.
So they're fighting and shit, and then that Japanese robotics company, they said, we got something for him too. And he launches their robot, their anti-Godzilla robot. And it's a cross between Batra, which was like Mothra's enemy. He's like a dragonfly. I think he was a dragonfly. Or Mothra's a moth. Batra's a dragonfly. Or a mosquito. Basically a creepy looking fly.
I thought it was gonna look like Ocean Man or some shit. That would have, but whatever.
No, he looks so part Batra, part Biolante, which was the flower.
Jet Jaguar.
Oh, Jet Jaguars. He was like the good robot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then so Biolante, which was a flower spore that looked like was it Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors?
You're right.
One of my favorite monsters. I always liked Biolante as a monster. And then Rodan. So it's like a 3-headed robot with Batra, Rodan, and Biolante. And they start fucking up, start fighting Godzilla too. But the robot is like tearing up the city and shit. And but then Godzilla just like fucking flames it and destroys that robot, And then I think Charles Xavier did some shit, like read Godzilla's mind and got him to calm down. And I think that's what happens in the end.
That seems too easy.
Yeah, I by that time this was like really wordy,
Yeah.
But basically, it turns out that the guy that who designed that robot, he hated Godzilla because got Angrius, one of Godzilla's enemies. There was a big battle, and his dad died in that battle, like when they were the monster battle. Like he got crushed during the battle. So he always blamed Godzilla, but it wasn't Godzilla that killed him. It was Angrius who killed his dad. So Xavier kind of like gives him like, you had this misguided anger and blah, 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 blah.
I mean, it was still a monster. I see why I used to piss off a Godzilla.
Yeah. So anyways, Godzilla goes back into the ocean and shit. And yeah. And that's it. And yeah, it was okay. This was like, there was a lot of exposition, a lot of mind reading, a lot of like fucking, because everybody, Beast had to say some shit about the PIM particles. So there was a page of that,
I mean, it was in Japan. They didn't fight ninjas.
No. And then, we had like, Jean Grey was saying some shit and something about like she was guiding Storm's like Storm's Storm or something, and Jean Grey had to help assist her. It was all this X-Men-y crap that I was like, let's get to the monsters. So I'll give this one a 3 out of 5. This was kind of for me because I'm not an X-Men fan. Like I was like I felt it was all weighed down by all the X-Men-y shit, you know, and not enough kaiju shit at the end.
Man, I don't know even know how that would work. X-Men versus kaiju. Armor didn't show up. I guess armor wasn't a thing, but yeah. Oh,
I don't maybe.
just thought it'd be more Japanese X-Men showing up. That's all. But yeah.
Yeah, there was like a reference to like Trask, to like his institute, and like I could tell they were like, okay, since the X-Men are in this, we got to write X-Men shit. You know? Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. This was like the first Marvel Godzilla book that I wasn't kind of into. Like the ones with like the Fantastic Four was fun. The Spider-Man one was really fun. Who else? Oh, the Hulk one was fun. Yeah, this one was like, but the next is Avengers. Godzilla versus Avengers. So
okay, so they better come with it on that one. So yeah.
Yeah.
You already know it's gonna be a giant Iron Man. You already know that.
Probably, yeah.
I ain't even read the book. You know it's gonna happen.
Giant Iron Man or Galactus will show up or something.
Some shit. He'll make a giant Godzilla buster or whatever, you know. All right. So last book I'm going to do, because I had these 2 big books. This is not a Marvel or DC book. I don't even know if you heard about this one. Yeah, we're stepping.
When did that ever happen? This is rare.
It's rare. It's rare.
When Leroy don't read a big 2 book.
It's not a big 2 book. It's a big 3 book.
Oh, is this Image? Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I know what you read. I know what you read.
Yeah, we're doing Battle Beast. You knew I had to pick up Battle Beast. This book, they've been saying it. Eli, did you buy Battle Beast? Did you pick this up?
I did not. I fell off Invincible years and years ago.
Damn, Eli, this book was gonna put your kids through college.
Oh,
it's the number 1 issue. You could retire with it. You could have bought this, not open it, and retired with it.
I'll just buy the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th printing.
There you go, because you can't buy the first one because everybody else already bought them up already.
With all the variant covers and shit.
Yeah, they buying everything. This is all over again. We've had this. I'm not going to get into the conversation. I don't know why y'all keep doing this stuff, but you keep doing what you're doing. Point is, Battle Beast has his own book. Why are we having a Battle Beast book? Because the people that read the Invincible comic, not the show, but read the comic, you know where their storylines goes. You're like, so why do we need a book? But this is a prequel, if it makes any sense. Like how he became who he is. So yeah. All right. So let's just start with the book. Let's go to it. Like I said, Battle Beast #1. You know, and the book starts off with actually a retelling of his first appearance in Invincible #19. And I don't like how he is beating the shit out of the only 2 black superheroes in the Invincible universe, but I'm gonna let that slide, you know, because it happened in the book, so it happened. So he was like, y'all promised me strong fighters, y'all promised me people strong enough to kill me. These motherfuckers are weak as hell. So he just throws them down, leaves, you know. Invincible got the shit beat out of him. So he's like, who fucking that guy? So, and that's it. So he just goes back to spaceship and just leaves because he was promised strong fighters and everybody's weak. He's like the strongest dude in here, like this fucking teenager. Hey, he's no good to me. So yeah. So he leaves. And he shows up on this ship like pissed off. Y'all promised me strong fighters. These guys are weak as hell. If y'all weren't already dead because I killed y'all before I left, I would have killed y'all again. Except slower. You know, so he's pissed off and he just and then the computer AI ship starts talking to him. And he was like, look, don't talk to me. I don't know you. I don't like you. Drive me somewhere. And he just flies around. No, nothing, just ship. And so the crew members that were on the ground, he ate them. You know, over the week because there was no food and he'd been stuck on this ship for weeks, and the crew and the ship just telling him, why are you eating those crew members? They've been dead for like weeks. You know, obviously they decays like that. He's like, I don't care, find me a ship or something like that. And he was like, well, since you're here, why don't you tell me something about yourself? And now we get Battle Beast backstory. He was like, okay, I'll tell you. My name is Throx. I'm from the planet Dorn. Now I think this is a reference to Michael Dorn, the voice actor of Battle Beast on the show, who is also Worf in Star Trek Next Generation.
Okay, yeah.
So it pays to be a Trekkie sometimes. So yeah.
Media literacy.
Exactly. Yeah. So the point is, Battle Beast is just this feral creature, the strongest person on this planet, and and all he cares about is war and destruction and dominance and blood. But the thing is, he kills the strongest people on this planet that he accidentally brought world peace to his planet. So he's like, there's no more strong fighters here. I'm gonna just leave. So he just left. So, and basically saying, I am looking for a fighter strong enough to kill me. And the robot AIs is like, well, good, because I want somebody to kill you too, because I don't like you, because you kill my crew, and I kind of like them. So let's team up. And I got this pass right here. Like, let's find somebody in the universe strong enough to kill you. And you're like, thank you, robot. So they go somewhere, they go to this planet, and he just all just awesome ass panels and splash pages and shit. And he finds this guy, and he just stuck in this building and stuck in this prison, shit like that. He was like, I can smell you. I know you're not dead. He was like, no, I'm not dead. Thanks you. You're smart, and obviously you're also super powerful. Thank you, kind soldier. Can you please free me? And obviously he looked like he's up to no good, shit like that. But he's like, I'm very weak. I'm tired. My sister trapped me in here 1,000 years ago because she's evil and she took over her place. Can you just free me and just grant me, because I'm almost about to die anyway. I just want to just, roam the universe while I can. And Battlebeast's like, whatever. So he just frees him. So he breaks the shit, breaks the cages he's in, and yeah, he's free. He was like, you fool. You dumbass. I am the most powerful being in the universe. I am destroyer of worlds. I just lied to you and told you all that bullshit just so you could free me. And now for your reward, first thing I'm going to do is kill you first. And Batman's like, look, dude, I know who you were the whole time. I knew you who you were. So I freed you on purpose so we can have this death-ending battle so I can find somebody strong enough to kill me. So let's go. And the first thing he does is jump at him and headbutts him and actually hurts his own head. So he like, okay, so that shit ain't gonna go well. Okay, so you're weak as fuck. So he's like, just come towards him, gets ready to stab him, and Battle Beast takes out his sword and bam, chops his fingers off. Like, back the fuck up. He was like, look, obviously I know you still recovering because you've been trapped for 1,000 years. So I'm gonna give you a chance to recover before I do my next attack. Oh, you want me to recover? Okay. And then bam, he recovers instantly. His fingers are back. He can heal instantly. So he's like, all right, well, let's go. So shit. So they dodge at each other. He's fast with the sword. He breaks his sword and grabs him. He was like, that shit ain't gonna work on me because I am the strongest thing around here. He's like, oh, you really? Well, and then that's when Battle Beast just starts gnawing at his arm and bites his arm off. Yeah. So now he got his own arm. And since his arm had a blade on himself, now he's gonna use his arm to fight him. So now he's got his arm. They go at each other. He chokes him. Well, he chokes Battle Beast, got him. He was like, I got you right where they want you. And then that's when he he gets chopped off and basically got Darth Mauled. He used his own arm to chop him in half.
Okay.
So he's dead now. He was like, oh, thank you for this battle. I really needed this battle. And thank you for leaving me face up so I can see the stars right before I leave. And Battle Beast's like, man, fuck you. You told me you were strong. You weak as shit. Get the fuck up out of here. And before he does that, some other dude crawls out of him. He's like, save me. This dude kept me trapped the whole time. And if you take me back to my planet, I'll reward you. And Babs is like, fuck it. Why not? So he goes back to the ship and he throws the arm down. And the ship is just like, wait, who is that? He's like, food. He's like, no, I know the arm. I see the arm. I know you're saving that. I mean, that dude you got on your shoulder. More food. Because I know we got a long trip. And that's how the book ends. So, yeah. So it's just a big Battle Beast fight. That's what you expect.
Is this a one shot or is it a continue ongoing?
It's continuous. Yeah, they got a little bit coming out next month. So yeah, this is continuous. Okay. Written by Robert Kirkman, drawn by Ron. So the same people that drew the Invincible and wrote Invincible writing this. So yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
It was a cool book. Not bad. I mean, art was cool. Had a fight with some dude. What else you want? So yeah, but hopefully, if I do keep going with this book, and like I said, it's Robert Kirkman, I know he's going to give us something more than just a monster of the week fights. I know he's going to give more than that. So yeah, I can just read Incredible Hulk if I'm going to do that shit. So yeah, that's all I got. Overall, 4 out of 5. It's a 4 out of 5. Art was strong, and Battle Beast is a cool character. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
All right. I guess my last book I'll do is Transformers number 20.
Transformers. Okay. 20.
Yeah.
Damn, they moving with this book. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 years, man.
So we got 2 Image books we're doing. Okay.
Oh yeah. This is the Energon universe, the new well, it's not new. It's 2 years old now, but G.I. Joe and Transformers have now crossed over. Good stuff. I still love this shit. Daniel Warren Johnson. He doesn't draw it anymore, but he's still writing it. Megatron is back. He returned last issue, and now he's back. He's back whipping the Decepticons in line who have been fractured. Soundwave, of course, has got his back. Astro Train is there to challenge Megatron. Megatron's like, fuck off. Beats the shit out of him. And then Starscream, Starscream, you little bastard. And this is a Starscream got transformed into like half of his body is on the Cobra Viper or whatever, tank or whatever. So like, okay, Starscream, we're gonna repair you. And so they repair Starscream back to normal. You're like, yeah, okay, you're back to normal. Just so I need you back to normal so I can torture the shit out of you. And proceeds to beat the shit out of fucking Starscream. And then transforms himself into the gun. Because Megatron, back in the day, he transformed into a gun. Right. And he makes Starscream kill A-Train. The A-Train's not A-Train, Astro Train is laying there all fucked up on the ground after he got his ass beat. So he shoots him. And Soundwave is like, yeah, you're because you've been like dormant for so long, your energon isn't up to par. So you're a little weakened. Usually it would only take one shot to kill somebody, but you're gonna have to like use more than one. So, and that's the thing is like Megatron has the ability to control anybody who's shooting him. So, and he's got that's
new. That don't sound like those.
Yeah. So he makes Starscream shoot Astro Train, and Starscream's like, no, and he's like, bah, 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 bah. So that's basically what happens. There's a scene where Spike is talking to Optimus Prime about his dad died, and there's some sort of like mourning conversation about how his dad will live on in the Matrix, and they give us hope and to fight for to fight another day. So, but they're like, we got to prepare. We have to prepare for the Decepticons because Megatron's back, and it's just a matter of time, before he whips the Decepticons back into shape. Because even though they're fractured, they're kind of worn. He's going to unite them, and then they're going to come for us. So we got to prepare. So let's get the flying Autobots. What are they called again? There was a group of flying Autobots.
Skybots.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So let's get them repaired so they can prepare. Back on Cybertron, this was a cool scene between Cliff Jumper and who the fuck was it? The Van. I can't remember his name. Anyway, they're talking and they're like, hey, Cliff Jumper's like, yeah, I had a friend, back on Earth. He's talking about what's her face? The chick. What's her name again? The girl, the human girl.
Yeah. The human girl. I don't know the human girl.
Yeah, I can't remember her name now. Spike ends up marrying her back in the day. The fuck was her name?
Megan Fox.
Anyways, he's like, yeah, she's a human girl, and she's the one who painted all that stuff on you because she was a painter. She painted, she painted the van. So she's the one who painted, and he's like, oh, well, is she in danger? She's like, yeah. Well, let's go get her. So let's, and then we that's the kind of it, they're it ends with, Starscream shooting Astro Train. And they're like, basically, prepare yourself, Autobots. So we're coming back for you. We're coming. That's kind of where it ends. Is Megatron, swearing, death upon the Autobots. And there's another scene where Ultra Magnus, he got fucked up like earlier on in like that space bridge battle, like issues ago. Anyways, his corpse or his wreckage has been picked up by the U.S. military. So the U.S. military, his body's like in some army base. So I'm wondering if that's going to connect to G.I. Joe.
Right. I mean, it's
They're
probably
gonna,
got,
they're-
but yeah.
yeah, they're gonna have Ultra Magnus. So again, this was really cool. This is a little, this is still one of my favorite books that I look forward to whenever it comes out. Yeah, this is another 4 out of 5. Still digging this shit. Kind of making, still nostalgia. Bringing the old, making me feel like a kid again with the toys that I had. But Daniel Warren Johnson brings a fresh take, to these characters. So cool shit. 4 out of 5.
Nice. Oh, what about Darth Vader? Wait, was he here? He was here last week, wasn't he?
Oh, I
Thanks about
got as an honorable mention, I read that Jedi Knights book. And they fight a kaiju.
Okay.
It's just a simple, stupid story where Qui-Gon. So the Jedi Knights book takes place before Phantom Menace. Qui-Gon is still alive, obviously. And Obi-Wan's like a teenager, his Padawan. And they go to rescue Bail Organa. His ship wrecked on some planet full of these giant monsters. So they go to rescue him, and they end up fighting these giant monsters. There's a really cool scene where Qui-Gon jumps out of the ship and with his lightsaber and slices down, like while falling, the neck, slices his neck while he's falling. I thought that was pretty cool. But it's just a really simple story about them fighting giant monsters. What makes the book interesting is that every page is a full splash page, so it's like a really quick read, And then I also read that other Godzilla book, Here Be Aliens.
Okay.
You remember that Here Be Dragons book that came out? That
was that a Godzilla book?
Yeah, the Godzilla Here Be Dragons, where it talked about how Godzilla's been around for centuries, and there was a secret
he was like
society,
taking out a slave ship or something, or
there's a secret society of like a monster society that prepared for that and all that. This one's about like a secret government faction that is aware of aliens now, and they mention the Exilians and the Simians. Exilians are the ones that were bringing Ghidra down to try to take over Earth, and the Simians were like the ape aliens, who originally designed Mechagodzilla. They were like an ape aliens. This came out in this, when Planet of the Apes was big, so. So they made in Godzilla movies they made a bunch of ape aliens, because to ride the success of Planet. But it made reference to that. I read that book. That was all right. So honorable mention.
Cool. Does Megatron and Darth Vader mean different universes? Can't happen.
Yeah, man.
Unless
you're crossing the streams, man. Did you not learn anything from Ghostbusters, motherfucker? Can't cross the streams.
Can't cross the streams. So yeah. Oh, let me ask you about Bail Organa. Did that throw you off with Benjamin Bratt recast?
Not. I mean, kind of. Just because Jimmy Smits he's been Bail Organa, but I didn't mind. Yeah. I mean, Benjamin Bratt was fine. And from what I understand, Jimmy Smits couldn't do it. His schedule was he had something booked already. He just couldn't do it.
You don't think it was a money issue, do you?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
He said that's what they said, that he was busy. I don't know.
But it didn't bother me. You know why? Because the last episode of Andor, so Benjamin Bratt had on, he was Bail Organa had on the outfit, and then when it went right into Rogue One, Jimmy Smits wearing the exact same outfit. So it didn't really bother me. I mean, it's funny because when Benjamin Bratt came on screen, I was like, that's Bail Organa. Like it didn't throw me out of anything like that. It was just like, that's Bail Organa. Let's go.
I mean, I was like, what? When I first watched that episode, when he met Mon Mothma, as Senator
the
Organa.
First episode, the first episode did kind of.
I'm like, hey, that's not Jimmy Smits,
right?
that's. I did have that. I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened. Was it a money issue or something? But I read that they just couldn't. Yeah, he just couldn't make it. They tried and tried. They tried to schedule it, but he was busy doing.
I think
something.
I think he's on another show or something. But
yeah, he just couldn't get away to do it. So, oh well. But yeah, I didn't mind Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah, he was fine. I liked him. I don't know why everybody complained about it. I mean, it's okay to recast sometimes if you have to. I don't know why Star Wars fans are afraid of this so much.
Yeah, I know. Like about Solo.
Right.
Like, Solo, like it wasn't that guy's fault. He did fine.
Yeah, I thought
Donald Glover, everybody did fine. Donald Glover, I had no problem with the cast.
Right.
So,
but a lot of people did. A lot of people did. They were like, "No, not my Han Solo." So,
yeah. Well, dumbasses. Whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we don't get to see that anymore.
Yeah. More Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, if you listen this long, if you like, subscribe. Like I said, we got a bunch of the podcast. Well, I don't know what we're going to about next week. So I'm pretty sure something will happen.
No, that's the next week after. Predator is like the first week of June.
Wait, what happened?
Predator. That Predator show.
That's soon? Damn. Okay.
Well, there's the movie coming out later this summer, but that Predator animated series is coming out like the first week of June.
Okay, so we'll make sure to clear our schedule till then.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching that. That's on my to-do list. I'm stoked for that. I've been watching all the Predator movies, preparing and shit.
I see you ranked them and stuff like
that. Yeah.
So, matter of fact, let's plan this out ahead of time. When does June 24th? Okay, after Juneteenth. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I remember it. So thank you, Disney. Okay.
Let's plan. Yeah, we'll get all the rage baiters.
Right.
We'll prepare. All the racialists will be up on all our comments. What about White History Month?
Right. They're gonna flood in there when
they're gonna come in. Yeah.
Just
what about White Boy Day? How come we don't get a day?
White Boy Slumber,
yeah.
So that's what we're doing next week. Anyway.
How come there's not a White Panther? I'm a victim too.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli. We ended on that note.
We're ending on that note, because we already know it's coming. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet channel.